I'm like this at 2020. I'm like, nah, bitch. Like, nah, we gonna have a good time, okay? You gonna stop fucking me up.
Hello, Heidi. Welcome to MiXEDAPES.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
I'm so, thank you for having me. I am finally decent. I had a real rough start to the pandemic. Real rough. We won't get into it because it's none of y'all business.
Okay. We'll put a pin in it. Tell the people about your show. It's a funny
My
dance
goodness.
show, I think.
It's called The Funny Dance Show. It is on E. If you have Hulu Live, you can watch it. If you don't, then you got to download the E or NBC apps. It premiered this year, the week of the pandemic. It was supposed to be my break. Not everybody saw it. Because
But I know you.
Yeah, you saw it?
Yeah. I love a lot of people on that show. Ron Funches is like the dopest dude. When I saw that he was going to be on it, I'm like, oh, I'll check this out.
Ron Funches
It's right up my alley. It's like there's something really like there's something about people being able to just be silly for the sake of being silly.
Yep.
That really that's all I really care about. That's who I am. So to like be able to produce a show, because you started that at the Comedy Store, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So for you to be like, this is a funny thing we're doing, and then having it catch on to become something, I think that's such a fucking great story.
I mean, listen, the Funny Dance Show was, Justine Marino and I's one night stand. Like, we were just going to do something for us. We are very different people, and she loves dance movies and I love to dance. And so and we both are comedians. So we created this show together, and I was the baby daddy and she was the baby mama. And it just ended up being a hit. So we raised this child together. It was like 4 years of my life. It's incredible of how it started. And we really thought it was going to be a one-off thing. Coach T was our DJ, who was also from Roast Battle. Who also is the reason that I'm on Chris Rock's vinyl album of Tambourine. So T, and he was like, y'all got to hit. Y'all have to do this again, because it ended up filling up. I mean, the first show, Joe Rogan pushed us. So whatever, we had to bump it. But anyways, it ended up being a hit, and then people were coming. And I think that it's just like, the fact is everyone loves to be silly and everyone loves to dance, but like, we're not all good at it. And the Belly Room for like a year was just this place where you could, we thought 2018, 2019 was bad, and we was releasing in there. Right. And it was really just about to have a good time. And so grateful that E picked it up and let us shoot 8 episodes, and we were executive producers and hosts, and they really empowered us. And we gave away $80,000 to charity. Like, everybody looked dumb, but it was $10K every episode to charity.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So like, whoever the winning team, no, like everyone was,
Yeah.
Everyone was there weren't really winners on the show, but
who had the most fun?
I did.
Yeah, that's good. I believe that too.
I had the most fun on that show.
Earlier, when you said the thing about charity, I forgot that was the whole
an
thing
element. Well,
team.
it wasn't. I
thought
when we did the live show, charity was not an element. We were giving away like mixed CDs,
right,
T-shirts of ours, and like bad props that we had in our closet. But E was the one who was like, how about we don't give away your old Mace CD? How about we give away $10,000 of charity? And I was like, y'all got $10,000 for charity? Hell
That's
yeah!
so much money.
I was like, y'all got more of that for me though?
They're like, no, we don't.
I know, yeah, no. But whatever, I went on a rant about, that's the show, the Funny Dance Show.
Fucking watch it, or I'll come to your house and I'll kick you.
I mean, that's the thing is like, please watch it because everyone, like, this was supposed to be the year that was like so exciting. Like, oh my God, the show's coming out. It's been this hit in LA. Like, we're going to get a second season. It's been such a hit. And this fucker in the White House fucked everything up. And then,
Wait, who? Who did it?
well, the White House.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
they
I'm just kidding.
I'm like, they
I
could
like
have
to,
told us the
I
pandemic
just like to
was
play
coming.
that guy who like, wait, what happened?
This fucking
There's a
guy.
what outside?
Yeah, this
I don't know why I
fucking
think that's
guy.
funny.
And then now we can't dance with each other. So watch the funny dance show because dancing is illegal. So
Yeah, that motherfucker turned this entire country into the town from Footloose. It's not fair.
cut all of my rant and go right to that.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so to the playlist. Thank you very much for taking it serious. I have you won the award for longest email thread about the episode, which is I think it's like that's like the Spirit Award. Like you get like a gold star sticker at the end of this because it was like 22 messages in a thread, and it's so great because you're such a pleasant person. It's really great. But I'm glad you took
me. I'm like, okay, and what time and what is the and okay, I just want to make sure that like I'm like being my agent and talent at the same time. I'm like, I want to make sure she's aware. You're like, she, you,
30-minute limit. Okay, and you're definitely not allowed to go over that. Okay, all right. No, she won't go over.
No, absolutely
you're the only you're like you're the 11th episode. I think all but maybe 2 sent me a playlist that was like 34 to 40 minutes, and I had to be like, no, sorry, I wrote this arbitrary rule, but I'm sticking to it. without a flinch, you emailed me to say it's a little over 30 right now, but I'm working on it. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I was because I was concerned that I was past the deadline of like when you needed it, and I wanted to explain myself like, hey, I know you asked for this. I'm absolutely working on it. I just want to make sure it's within the guidelines. Like, was just very concerned that like, you know, I really truly, I know I sound how I sound, but like I really truly respect anybody trying to do anything.
Yeah.
Because I know how
I honestly
hard
respect that about you because that is like a cardinal trait of yours. If someone's doing something that they're excited about, Heidi's going to be excited about it.
Yeah.
What a great quality to have. I feel like I'm going to give you a compliment and then accept it as well, which is a lame thing to do.
I'm going to try. I'm preparing myself.
That's how I feel about life too. Like if someone's out doing shit and you're not rooting for them, you're a dick.
You're a dick.
You root for people. It's fun to root for people. Well, not forever. There's a few people around that I root against actively, but
this ties into my playlist.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so let's jump in. Let's talk about the theme you picked, and then I like to talk a little bit about the honorable omissions, and then we'll go through the tracks. We don't have to spend like you don't have to go through every track like ba 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 ba, but let's talk about them, the ones that you're like really excited to talk about. So
we're going through every track.
Okay, good.
I will hit every track, and I will keep it succinct because I hear you on you don't gotta heat everything.
So before I hit record,
already been talking too much. Okay.
I just want to make a note of this. Is before we hit record, you showed me that you did, or you brought a notebook full of notes. And that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
This is the track list. This is when I was like, oh, I have to redo the order because this doesn't follow the structure. This is how I write. I didn't go to college. I just have a high school diploma from Morro Bay High School, who used to kick me out of class all the time. Mm-hmm. So if I can't talk, blame it on them because I was asking questions and they thought I was dumb. Bitch, I was smart. Your teachers was dumb and you wasn't explaining the things properly.
That's right.
So here are my notes. So the theme of this is basically we're all in a pandemic right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really, and I've gone through my own versions, we all have, of this pandemic because there's no fucking leadership. So we all have to go through our own versions of the pandemic. But what I thought a common theme could be is PSA, because we all need public service announcements right now more than ever. And my PSA that I always have to tap into when I'm feeling like, imposter syndrome, like, am I fucking up? Like, am I too old? Am I like just uneducated? Like all those things that come into your head. So I made a playlist about like PSA, I'm that bitch. And I'm that bitch is genderless. Like this is not just for women. It's like when these are
Wait, are you saying that I could be that bitch?
yeah, you could be that bitch.
Incredible. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, you could be that bitch. You can walk around and be like, yo, I listen to this playlist and I'm that bitch. And every single person on this playlist, it's 8 songs, are very personal to me. There is one person that I had to leave off, honorable mention. I tried to work it in so hard. I really want to have a nice moment to talk about him. Um, but 30 minutes flow, really had to follow the instructions. And yeah, this is a PSA for any time that you feel like the world is coming down on you. This is the journey of tapping into who you really are and who you want to be, and how to overcome adversities, and also how to let adversities not affect you. That's
Mm-hmm.
like the end. Like at the PSA, like you ain't got to fight. No, like the start of the PSA is like, I feel like everybody's against me. And the end of the PSA is like, it's just you, baby. It's
Mm-hmm.
you and you. Fuck these other people. So that's the arc of these 8 songs.
Incredible. Let's go through them. The
Okay, great.
first the first one is the only one that like, and I feel so shitty about this, but like, but this
Don't
is
feel
this is part of
silly.
why I love this, because I'm like, I've been a music guy my whole life. Like I'm definitely kind of a music snob, and the one genre that I just like, I can't talk about. I have to just like lean back and go, oh, mm-hmm, is basically what you put together. So
Well, that's how I feel about everything that you're a music snob about, and also probably music snobs hate me. So it's
yeah,
like,
no, but
hey, man,
it's
we got
great.
mutual ground.
The first tracks, because what I try to do whenever someone sends me a playlist is I set it up and I try not to like really think about it, and then just hit play and have it play in the background the first time through, because
I love
there's
that
something about like
feeling.
sort of like your expectations for what you're about to hear. Here's a really random aside, but back when I was like recording music a lot in my early 20s, like 75 years ago, the one thing that we learned is like, if you tracked a guitar part or a vocal part or a bass, like whatever part, and you could, you'd see it on the computer, and you'd be listening back, and everybody would like be staring at it, and you'd be waiting for the change, and you'd be like, okay, it sounds different when you close your eyes or sit or just
Yeah,
or sit like with your face, like facing away from the
away.
computer, because you,
Yeah.
you get to like experience the music instead of like anticipate. I think
Yep.
is so you're
Yeah.
just like more open to it. So I don't know why I went into that weird aside, but I
No,
basically have
I get
trained my
it.
brain to try to listen to music uh, as like passively listening versus actively listening, and
Mhm.
like appreciating both. So I gave yours a passive listen. It started off and I was like, I've heard this song before, and I was so proud of myself. The first track is
Jay-Z, public service announcement, interlude.
Tell Me About It.
So there is a specific part in the song that is actually the second part, which is the voiceover, and this song always puts me in a place to remotivate me for the arc that we're talking about. And I have an issue with yelling and my voice and my thoughts and my opinions, and I think they're right. And oftentimes I am wrong, but oftentimes I'm right. I am just very vocal about it. And there's this part where it's like, hey, brother, when it hits the fan, like whether it's next year, 10 year, 20 years from now, you can never say that I lied to you. Like, and that and the passion that it is said is like, hey, dude, when I said what I said, I wouldn't have said it if I didn't mean it. And I totally understand there's a lot of other shit going on, and you may not have heard me. And I may have not said it in a way that you can hear me, but what I didn't do was lie to you. I did not fucking lie to you. And lies hold such a heavy weight with me for so many reasons. We don't have enough time. But I try to be truthful as possible, and that has its own consequences. Okay, my friend keeps, let me just being truthful. Hey mama, I'm on a podcast right now.
Girl, you have fun on that podcast.
You on it now too. She paused me right quick. Like, bitch, I did not consent to that. Okay, I'll call you later. Bye. That's my best friend. That's my best friend from back home. She called me twice in a row, so I had to know what was up. Anyways, so that's the first song.
That's awesome.
I may not know how to say it, but I know that I didn't lie to you. And Jay-Z also is someone that I admire because he took I have not had many opportunities, and entertainment is an opportunity for me to flip, to bring myself up in the world. And Jay-Z did that. So that is the intention of track 1.
I love it. Where are you from? You've told me and I don't know.
Yeah, no, nobody knows, because I'm from the Central Coast of California and I moved a lot as a child. I bounced around a lot for multiple reasons, which is another podcast.
Let's do that one next week. I'm also a kid who moved around a ton as a kid.
Yeah, and it's not an army brat. It's not an easy situation. So
me neither.
Hey,
moving around with Mike and Heidi. What a fun podcast.
Where are they at now? Why'd they get there? So I'm from the Central Coast of California. I went to high school in Morro Bay. And then I moved to LA when I was 17. My parents are from LA, but again, I grew up on the Central Coast. Moved to LA when I was 17. I am 33. This is my Jesus year, which I died and rose again.
Oh yeah, fun.
But I'm a Cali bitch through and through, and LA for like half my life and pretty much my formative adult years. So that's why I act like this.
Like a little angel.
I was gonna say like a little fucking anxious asshole, but angel works.
Well, a little angel, a little cherub, shooting arrows.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. Track 2. Hit me.
2.
So Jay-Z, starting with an interlude, bold choice. Totally works as the playlist goes. It warms up. You hit play. It's like, oh, okay, something's happening here. It's warming up. All right, this is fucking dope. I'm into this. I find myself bobbing my head and thinking, you know what? I should listen to more Jay-Z. I get it. I get why people love Jay-Z. I've never heard a Jay-Z song in my life and thought, turn this off.
For sure, listen to the whole Black Album when you have time. The interlude is from the Black Album, and anytime that I feel like I don't see where I'm going, the Black Album is the light of the tunnel. And like, if you look at the Black Album and you can contrast it to 444, I really think that Jay-Z has honestly been showing us his growth and his journey in a way that is ironically opposite, which we'll get to it to another track of one of his counterparts. So track one is basically, this is where I'm coming from and this is who I am. Track 2, would you like to announce the title or do I do that?
No, yeah, go for it. I'll put a lower third up.
So track 2 is Last Time That I Checked, and it is by rest in peace, a activist, a legend, a person who made actual real change in the community, Nipsey Hussle. And it is it is featuring YG. So the choice is very specific because I went back and forth between Last Time That I Checked and Hustle and Motivate. This is from his last album, before he passed. And I definitely was out in the streets for his passing, was down over in front of his store when they, did the whole drive through LA. I just can't explain how much like what an impact Nipsey has made on a lot of like us. And the transition is specific from Jay-Z to Nipsey because, this is an LA, New York thing. Mm-hmm. And then also Nipsey has YG on this track, which is an LA thing. And I think that the overall tone of the message of the playlist is about, it's not about where you're from, it's about your message. And it's about how you have to overcome so many things and so many boundaries of even people that look like enemies or who may not be. And it's about finding that like common message. And Last Time That I Checked is basically like, I feel like you challenging me. And last time that I fucking checked, my reputation is good to fucking go. And here's the list of why. And right. You know what? If you trying to make an enemy with me, that's wild because I have someone who should technically be my enemy on the fucking song. And last time that I checked, we are fucking good, bitch. So that's the energy of that.
I just keep thinking of podcasts for us, but Heidi heaslet explains rap songs to me. Mm-hmm. Is something that like I don't know if anybody else would be interested in, but I feel like I need that.
Songs to me?
Yes, absolutely.
Open
It'll be like, yeah, Michael explains Radiohead songs to Heidi, and
literally
vice versa.
Don't know who that is.
Amazing. Let's do it.
You're like, I'm also confused about all the things you just said, so this could be great. We're two white people, but from different music corners. I don't know. That's the song. I don't write music.
No, it's recording. That's 100% in.
So that's song number 2. Is that enough for you? Do we?
I think so. What's interesting to me, I was actually really excited to hear a Nipsey song because, like, I'm obviously like, I feel like an LA person. Similar story. Like, I wasn't born here. I wasn't really raised here, but from the time, like, I moved here in middle school the first mm-hmm. time, but most of my life I've been LA, mm-hmm. and everyone else in my family has been elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when I leave LA, I'm homesick for LA. It just makes sense to me. Like, I feel comfortable here. Like you, I think it's like, it took me a long time to really get my feet dug in where I felt like I belong in LA, because that's like the hardest thing is like getting a place for it. And like being a big sports fan and stuff, when Nipsey died, I remember like kind of like I felt so dumb just being like, everybody has on like Nipsey shit, and I was like, what the fuck is Nipsey Hussle? I don't know what that is. And then like when I like looked into it and realized, like you said, like he was the community for people that needed community. I'm like, fuck. I felt real. Like it made me feel bad, not just because he passed, but because like I didn't know about him and couldn't help celebrate what he was trying to accomplish mm-hmm. in a way. So it was like it's nice to be able to like get sort of introduced to his music in this sort of way, where it's like more bite size for me because I'm so out of touch with like just like hip hop rap stuff in general,
I think that's really great that you say that because, like, to be honest, the week Nipsey passed, we were producing a show at the Comedy Store for the Funny Dance show, then called Stand Up to the Streets, and someone on one of the teams wanted to do a Crip walk, and I was like, "Hey, Nipsey passed this week. Like, you're a white girl. Like, also that's not even how the Crip walk is. Like, do you know what you're doing? Like, I mean." And I was a little sarcastic because I knew she wasn't doing it correctly, but I was like, hey, like, just feel like this is in bad taste. And I got pushback from some of the counterparts involved because they thought I was being too sensitive. And I was like, that's a big bummer for me. Like it really genuinely like made me sad. And luckily the girl who was performing was like, hey, I'm going to listen to Heidi. But like, you know, some of the people on my team were supposed to be on my side, gave some pushback, and it was just really kind of like a bummer. So I really appreciate you saying like, oh damn, like I viewed this city as something that I really belonged to, and maybe was I in touch with all of it? Like,
Yeah.
maybe no, I wasn't. And like that's like the overall theme, because again, there's probably a lot of shit in LA that you're like, girl, you didn't know about this, and I'd be like, no, like, and
I
so
wouldn't
like,
honestly, that's one of my favorite things about LA is the more people you meet, the more LA you get to know.
yeah,
Like I've been here for 1,000 years, and only within the last year I heard someone say Frogtown, and I was like, "What?" And they're like,
what?
"Oh, in LA." And I was like,
You're like,
"What? I've never heard that before." You know, like, and I think it's really beautiful because this city sprawls.
it
You
does
know, like,
sprawl, and I think that like that's the beauty and the complication with it, right? Like, you know, New York, you're on top of each other, so you're forced to get to know each other. Whereas in LA, you can find your own people, and that's for better or for worse, right?
yeah,
Um,
for better or for worse, you said. Agreed, 100%.
yeah, like
Yeah, you can. Everyone
especially,
can find their own little bubble pretty
yeah,
easily.
and
Yeah.
especially when I see people who aren't from here and not even from California, and they talk about how fake LA is. I'm like, bitch, you talking about Hollywood? Like, you talking about the entertainment industry? Like,
Yeah.
the LA I know, the California I know is family and truthful based. And if you are confused, then like that sounds like the crew you found.
Yeah, you know how I explained
Bitch.
LA to people once was because all of my family's from Nashville.
Which I
and
heard is great.
Nashville's okay. It's like for the South, it's incredible. Yeah.
So that's yeah.
But I remember someone saying something like that to me when I was visiting. Was like, you know, like LA's just full of like rude, you know, selfish people, and I was like, no. People in LA are just as nice, if not nicer, than people in the South that's known for hospitality. The difference is there's like things to do, and people are like working on doing things. If you're trying to chat someone up randomly at a fucking Ralph's, you're kind of being an asshole because that guy's got somewhere to go.
Because he's like, yo, I'm honestly on an email right now.
Yeah,
and
like,
I don't mean to be rude, but I'm trying to be kind to this person. Like,
exactly. Like,
again,
what are you?
goes back to
what are you
the
talking
space,
about?
the space thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's just all these different spaces for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Worse.
I love it.
So that's the last time that I checked, and I also love YG. I love YG. He's very like, you know.
I don't
he's
know
very,
anything about YG. I don't know what
Okay.
it stands for. I'm gonna guess it stands for yellow gold.
So YG also, like, you know, him and DJ Mustard really brought back a lot of that like Cali vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And they
I just said, mm-hmm.
You were like, mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I can't believe that.
Are we talking about like Chronic era?
We're talking about like we talking like Cali be like, a like that shit.
Cali be like, a. I swear to God, that made sense to me. You can.
That's
continue.
what I'm saying. That's how.
That 100% connected. Yes.
My Crazy Life is like such an essential album for me. So anyways, to get Nipsey and YG together is like, we start off with Jay-Z being like, hey, this is where I came from, this is where I want to go, feels like some shit is up against me, feels like some of y'all question me, and I'm saying I'm only going to tell you the truth, and I'm always going to try to keep it going and pushing. Track 2 is Nipsey and YG, two people who should technically be enemies, but they have a common message, right? So, and they're also being like, yo, anybody who questioned me, like last time that I checked, both of our reputations is good on the message. Like technically we're supposed to be enemies, but our message is together. So like last time I checked, all the shit is like good to go. Also, this one hits super home with me because he says, last time I checked, blah, 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 and he talks about buying property in the hood, and it goes for $250,000 and whatever. And $250,000 felt like something I can never see in my entire lifetime. However, this song came out roughly around the time that we sold the pilot, and that number is not what I got, but that is a number that I saw on paper. And I was like, wow, this is like what Nipsey was talking about. Like, people really do have $250,000 to spend on things.
Yeah.
And that just like was not something that I like to see. $250,000 on a piece of paper, even associated with me, even though it's not for me, was something that like my mind was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, like this isn't mine, but it's like close to this number.
Right.
And it just, this song makes me feel like, yeah, I could get there. Like, like Jay-Z is talking about where he wants to go, and this song makes me feel like I could get there.
Right. You know that if you put in the work.
Yeah. I could get there.
Cool. Okay.
Which
I'm
is
fucking
track
loving this playlist.
So track number 3 is by this young Canadian girl, Jessie Reyes. She's Colombian.
Did you say Canadian?
Canadian and Colombian. So she is of Colombian descent. She's Canadian, Jessie Reyes. I would really highly recommend listening to or watching her Fallon appearance that happened during the pandemic. It was shot by some Canadian female directors and editors that I know who are incredible. And they are doing a lot of incredible work in the music space right now. Kat Weber, Leah, I can send you links to their Instagrams. But anyways, Jessie Reyes is this incredible young artist. She has so much heart in her voice, which I think a lot of artists are afraid of because it's such a structure now, right? And Jessie Reyes really uses her voice as an instrument. And she has this song called Deaf, Who Are You? And so the next journey is like, hey, like Jay-Z, this is what I want to do. This is where I come from. Like Nipsey is like, I think I can actually do this. Like, I think I could actually do this. And last time I checked, like on my end, I'm good. But this is like a fucking leap, right? Like This is a leap of faith. This is a push. And then anytime you make that leap of faith and you push and you partner with someone who should be an enemy, you know, you always get back like a lot of talk, right? And so Jessie Reyes' song, Who Are You, is like, who are you to talk about me? Like, who are you? I am working. I am trying to do something here. And who the fuck are you to tell me I can't? Who are you? And so I'm deaf. I can't hear y'all. Like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like she says, like, what the fuck's a day off? I'm going to buy my dad a mansion. Now, I ain't buying my dad a mansion because he don't deserve that from me. He don't shit from me. And he probably gonna see this too.
Maybe get him a pack of scratchy lotteries.
You don't deserve shit from me, bruh. You walked out of my fucking TV taping. Anyways, I'm not buying my father a mansion, but I hear her when she says, like, what the fuck is a day off? I'm gonna buy my dad a mansion because I want to do that for my grandma. I don't know if I will have the capacity to do it in her lifetime. However, that motivation of like, I'm going to break through this struggle. I am going to break through. And your criticisms, I literally do not have time for them. Okay?
Yep.
So that's track number 3.
Love it.
Okay, track number 4.
Hold
on, because I did some rearranging. Well, let me know. Do you have questions?
Well, I've got track 4 is Da Baby.
Right. Yep.
Which is another one of those artists where I was pretty sure that was a rapper, but I also thought it might have been a joke on a comedy show. Da Baby.
There's a lot of babies in rap.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if that's a real rapper. If someone's like overhearing a conversation about like, oh,
like
did you hear that new track by Da Baby? And I was just like, I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not. I have no way of checking.
You're like,
well,
oh,
I guess I could Google
SNL? Is that fake news?
Exactly. It felt like fake news to me, for sure.
So Da Baby is actually the truth. I love Da Baby. I followed up Da Baby with with Jesse because I had two legends, right? I had Jay-Z, I had Nipsey.
Mm-hmm.
So then I wanted to follow up with two
Up and comers.
Two up and comers.
Yeah.
Like DaBaby is definitely, I would say, probably globally, maybe for you know what? I'm not going to speak to that. I think there are two up and comers who had some really, really great years. The reason I like DaBaby is the same reason of this theme is he's very real. He is not just a rapper. If you cross him, he will beat your ass up. And
no
while
doubt.
that's a life that I have left behind, which goes along to the theme of this thing, this playlist, the song Probably Heard is, and also just by the way, as a disclaimer, all of these songs have a lot of N-words in them. For anyone listening, you are not allowed to say them.
Don't do it.
Don't say them.
Don't
I personally don't say the N-word. I've never said it. Even if I'm singing along to a song, I don't say it. I either say nothing or I like to use the word playa because it has a similar syllable.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you don't want to be quiet, I would suggest finding a word that is not the N-word that matches the syllable choices.
My rap knowledge basically stopped late 90s, early 2000s. But I know the lyrics to a lot of songs that were popular around then. Whenever that comes up, I like to do the radio edit noise.
Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
That's fun.
That's fun.
Mike.
Yeah.
I don't even want a chance for someone to think I've ever said it.
Exactly.
No, Mike censors himself for real.
What's that?
Mike censors himself for
real.
Yes.
Because in my opinion, it's such an easy option. Like, I don't understand why it's a thing that anybody ever fights for who isn't Black.
We know the answer to that. God damn. I mean,
it's like, just don't. You have the full option not to say it, and you have the full option not to make this a thing.
It's America, dude. There's always going to be a group of people. Podcast. There's always going to be a group of people.
So anyways, don't say any of the N-words on my
Bombay.
podcast, or else I'll come for you. But
I believe it. I've seen Heidi beat someone to death in an alley. That's not true. No.
Oh, I was like, I thought I stopped that before I met you.
I've just heard the rumors.
You just heard the rumors, which respectable. They're probably true, unless they came from a white person, then they're not true. But anyways, I love DaBaby. There's so much stuff I love about him. He's actually, inside scoop, he's an incredibly enjoyable person to work with. He works very hard. He talks about a lot of stuff on his, it was all of these artists were so hard to choose because there's so many songs that I love from them. And this one ties into, as far as playlist, the reason I chose this song is because after Jesse Reyes is like, I can't hear you. Like I'm doing something. But the fact is anytime you try to focus, some of the noise comes in, right? Mm-hmm. Like we don't have socially noise canceling headphones. As much as you want to be like, as much as you want to be like, I want to focus on my mission, there's no Beats by Dre that stops Instagram, that stops rumors, that stops talk, that stops things that get back to you. So you hear things that people say about you when you're on your mission, right? And I love this song because it's called Probably Heard. And he says, probably heard I was broke from a broke. Probably heard I was a hoe from a hoe. So it's really about a song about projecting. Yeah. Like, you probably heard some shit about me because that person doesn't want to talk about themselves, so they made it about me.
Right. That's really insightful. I heard the song and I thought like, because that's the chorus, and it's like after the second time through I heard it, I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I get it. I get that, DaBaby. Good job.
You probably heard that from someone who was projecting. Mm-hmm. Okay.
That comes up a lot.
It does.
Just not well. Just like in the world. I think over the last decade, people really started to hone in on what like projecting is as like a concept. Because it's one of those things where once you hear someone be like, that guy was projecting, you start to just like see it because it's just like such a human thing to do.
Yep.
You know, and it's one of those things where once you're aware of it as a concept, and if you're not a complete piece of shit, you better start seeing it when you're doing it and stop doing it.
Absolutely. And a thing that I definitely even struggle with is like, I'll say people aren't listening to me, but to be honest, like, I think I'm not being listened to. So I get loud and I say things that I think multiple times because I think I'm not being listened to. So, like, that's me projecting. So it's like, it's all wrapped up in the shit. Like, it's wrapped up in their shit, it's wrapped up in your shit. Like, so this is the progression, right? Like, I've got to tune everybody out, but you still hear people. Why are you hearing them? Why are they saying that? Like, whether it's true or false, it's like you have to address it. Like, and
I like that
I like
DaBaby is essentially the rapper version of Brene Brown.
Who's Brene? Well, we got to do this. We got to do this.
Brene Brown's no, let's just skip it. Let's just skip it. That's a joke where if it would have landed, we would have really had a good time about it. She writes a lot of like self-help kind of like books.
Oh yeah, those are so don't land well with me at all.
Yeah. Mm-mm. We love them here.
You're like, and that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But I do like that DaBaby says, like, you probably heard. Like, he's not saying, like, definitively.
Yeah.
He's just saying, like, sounds like that person called me a hoe because they a hoe, but, like, I don't know. Just, like, probably. Like,
yeah, it's like consider the source before you take it as fact.
Exactly. So
DaBaby, 2020.
DaBaby, consider the source.
Yeah.
So then after DaBaby, we have Kanye West, Gorgeous, right?
Yes. No.
So,
yes. Sorry.
huh?
Yes. I forgot how to read, I think.
So I really debated putting Kanye on it all because it was really between him and somebody else, which we'll get to the omissions. However, my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, I have so many feelings around Kanye, right? So the reason I put Kanye after the DaBaby is like this whole story is about an arc, right? Like it's what I want, where I'm going, where I came from. And Kanye, I put really at the center of this because he represents so many things about where I came from, where I'm going, how the path can change, right? And especially even against the contrast of Jay-Z as the start. Two people who really work together, and unfortunately, we all deal with a lot of things on our journey. However, I would be lying if I didn't say that Kanye, especially his early albums, really affected me in how I viewed myself, how I viewed things I could accomplish, things that he said, and my beautiful dark twisted fantasy was like one of those albums that I felt included so many artists like Kid Cudi on this song, Raekwon, who like really, it was just in their bag about transition. And Gorgeous is like, okay, I've seen where I'm at, right? This playlist, I see where I'm at. I see where I want to go. I see the ugliness of it. Like the DaBaby being like, I don't know why you talking about me like that. But then Kanye and Kid Cudi come in and it's like, not for nothing though, I've foreseen it. I dreamed it. Like it is beyond what you're coming at me about. Not for nothing. I've foreseen it. I dreamed it. And then in the song Gorgeous, he talks about the ugliness of the process, right? Like he talks about this ugly process, and that's in the verses. But the chorus is so calm. Not for nothing, I've seen it. I dreamed it, ayy. I can see it slowly drifting away from me. Like you're like, is the ugliness gonna overcome where I'm going because I seen it, but I can also see all this ugliness that I'm in the midst of.
Yeah.
Right? Am I getting too weird?
No, this is great. This is the least amount of talking I've ever done in an hour.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Am I over
No,
talking?
this is great.
Okay.
There's nothing more exciting than someone giving a shit about what they're talking about. It's so rare.
I give way too many shits. Like you gotta
Yeah. No,
stop.
it's just
You
great.
have to stop me. You have to be
I
like, girl,
absolutely
nobody
won't.
cares that much.
No. Get into it. Get weird.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I picked Gorgeous, is because like I felt like this was now the transition for the rest of the songs, the rest of the playlist. Like we were here, Jay-Z. I was given this. I don't know, but I want better. And what I'm going to tell you right now is I never lied to you. Whether it's next year, 10 years, 20 years, I never lied to you, right?
Yeah.
And then there's Nipsey and YG. We're like, you know what? In order to get this accomplished, I got to team up with people who you think I wouldn't team up with, but it's
Right.
about a mission. Then it's Jesse Reyes, like the newcomer, being like, "Yo, what the fuck, bro? Like, like I cannot. Why are you fucking with my mission, right?
Right.
And then it's you rationalizing yourself with DaBaby, being like, okay, you know what? You actually probably heard some fuck shit because they going through some shit, right?
Yep.
Like they projected, right? And then there's like Kanye, where there's this very much like conflicting thing. You're like, well, are they going through some fuck shit or am I going through some fuck shit? Am I the one projecting? And then you're like, no, the chorus. I have to stay with,
Yeah.
no, I seen it. I dreamed it. Like all this fuck shit is going on, but I'm going to back to the mission, right? And that part is the hardest part, which is why I transitioned him to J. Cole, because J. Cole is an artist who never does any features and he gets a lot of shit for it. It's a lot of shit for it. You don't have no features. He brags about it. He's on his own. On all his songs, he's on his own. Oh! Because you didn't get that transition.
I'm still not 100% sure I do.
Neither am I, but
I've never thought about, see, this is why I love this so much. It would have never even occurred to me that like, he's never featured on, he's never been like something featuring
no,
J.
he doesn't
Cole.
have people on his, like,
So
on
the other
his
way,
album?
it's never like J. Cole featuring Michael Henderson where I do a verse. Ever.
No, and people get mad at him about that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that would be a thing. Of course that's a thing.
Because hip hop is a very collaborative art, right? Like,
and I just wanted a quick note for the 4 fans I have of not me, but of maybe listening to this. J. Cole, this song, Middle Child, very first repeat in MiXEDAPES history.
really?
Yeah.
So he's crossover.
He crossed over on the episode 4 was called All Black, and it was all bangers. A friend of ours named Des, who's a wonderful actress, put it together.
I gotta find Des. You gotta give me Des.
Yeah, you guys would like each other. It was the closing track on her playlist.
Wow, that's so funny because it's like the transitional track, like when it's just me. And I would love to watch her episode to know there's obviously a mutual ground there. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, J. Cole is definitely like a track that is like an artist that is like, I'm here, it's me. Like, I'm here, it's me. I'm done with the fuck shit. It's just me. I don't know if this was some of her messaging, but
not at all. I'm pretty sure she just loved the song.
I overthink shit. It's my
No,
problem.
it's wonderful. Yeah. But
It's my
no,
problem.
launch into it. Tell me more.
Yeah, so Middle Child is really like, I go to Middle Child, especially when it released. I was going through a situation where I felt like people who should have been on my side weren't, and people who I created things with weren't, and it just kind of really broke my heart in a way that I just didn't really expect and needed needed something to remind me that like it's okay that I'm alone, or it's okay that people don't like me.
Yeah.
And J. Cole dropped Middle Child just kind of like out of nowhere. And I'm not the middle child, I'm the mistress's daughter. So um,
Right.
I'm not a middle child, but it just felt like when I listened to the song, somebody saw me. And it
Hmm.
really kind of remotivated me back into like the theme of this thing of like PSA, like
Go.
go, like it's
Yeah.
okay, like they don't like you and that's okay, like y'all
Right.
are different, y'all are different. So like this goes back to this theme of like us versus them, right? Like I'm in this thing, I have to overcome this thing, these people are doing this thing to me, like, you know, and all of those things are real, but like the acceptance of like maybe they won't like you and maybe you won't ever like them.
That's
Accept
fine.
that. Like you're
Yeah.
in the middle of this fight.
Hmm.
Accept that. Like, so I really felt like J. Cole was the reason that I jumped off into these last two tracks.
Cool.
So the last two,
Hmm.
any questions?
No,
Am
I'm
I
right
giving
there with
too
you.
much of a monologue?
No,
Tell
no,
me.
no. This is no, no, no. I love it. Here's why I love it is because I'm I'm such a novice with a playlist like this where I was just like, ah, rap songs. Do
You're
you know
like,
what I mean?
I don't
Like,
got,
yeah,
I don't got
it's really
nothing.
it's you know like I always feel bad. Like I feel like I've said that a few times. I always feel bad about it. It's just like it's not something that like instantly connects with me. The last time I like really loved like a rap song was when there was like a jazz like, and I think a lot of it is because what you can like hear on the radio is like not what most people who really like the genre like. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, so
Well,
like
I'm
the
sure that
stuff I
they,
hear, I'm like, oh god, that's repetitive for 5 minutes. Why would you want to listen to that?
yeah. And
It's like a 3 second sample that just loops for 5 minutes. I don't want to listen to that.
so I do personally believe that every genre feels like that
Of
because
course.
I grew up on country music. And when I was a kid, when I lived with my mom from 0 to 9, I was only allowed to listen to country music or watch the news. There was nothing else that I could do, which is like not the greatest combo. So maybe it explains a lot. We'll get
Were
into
you a
that
big
later.
Kenny Chesney girl?
Oh, Kenny. My point is,
That was so weird.
no, I mean, I know Kenny Chesney,
Yeah.
but it goes back to your point of like everything's repetitive. And it was like, even now when I turn on a radio station, I can actually like sing along to songs that I don't know
I know.
because I know what's
Mhm.
coming.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like with any genre, like even when I listen to like punk rock stuff, they're like, I went over to my girlfriend's house. Why was she not there? Like, and like rock is like, the system's against me. Why is the system against me? I just want to be free. Like it's like everything has their theme, and hip hop is for sure an overcoming theme. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I was here and I want to go there. Like, and yes, things are repetitive, but that's also the fault of the music industry because they've turned it
100%.
into a machine as opposed to an artistry.
What I realized pretty recently, just like having these talks with about music with people, is like because I listen to music the way I listen to music and the way I like process music, I've always I've always gone lyrics and vocals last. I hear
Mm.
the bass guitar, I hear the guitar, I hear the drums, I hear other instruments. The very last thing that I focus on is the lyrics. So if I'm not like super into a song, like the instrumentation and composition of a song, I'm not even going to ever listen to what they're saying or who's saying it. And that is like the worst attitude if you're going to try to listen to rap because it's only about what they're saying.
I was just gonna say, so this makes total sense. So we
Yeah.
do have to do this podcast. I'm a lyrics person first because
Hmm.
I'm not smart enough for the music composition.
That's not true. You just didn't play music growing up.
Well, I tried. A bitch failed at the clarinet. I mean, they like kicked. I mean, they clicked me out of. They kicked me, and I will not name names. But you know, one of my exes is a very prominent music person, and you know, he would always laugh and be like, you know, when I remember he would be like, when I'm DJing something that's supposed to stop people from dancing, you're the one who keeps dancing. Like, so it's like, I am for sure a lyrics person. I'm a words person. It's why I talk too much. It's like all tapped in there.
Right.
And the beat and the composition, well, the beat's there, but the composition, I'm not, I'm ignorant. Like it's like such a back thing to me. Like when I listen to a song, I'm like, oh, this person was feeling these things, I want to talk to them.
Yeah. And all I imagine is them in the studio recording it
with a shitty beat.
Yeah, just like
With like a shitty beat, like, why are they so passionate over this terrible beat?
Exactly. Like, oh, I would love to hear this, you know, remixed.
Yeah. And when I listen to rock, it's like, I'll be like, yeah, I mean, like, cool, but like, what are you yelling about? Like,
yeah, why is that guy mad at me? I didn't do anything. Anyways, J. Cole.
No, so J. Cole is the perfect transition to these two last artists, actually, which touch exactly what we're going on, because these two last artists are extremely commercial, right? I'll spoiler alert, it's Drake and then it's Cardi. So it's two extremely commercial artists, right? And I think that probably off camera, both of these artists would admit that they don't have a lot of, I don't know what the word is, the thing that you're good at, music.
Oh.
Like
I've only kind of seen Drake in interviews and stuff and like know of him. I have a hard time believing he would admit that he's not good at something.
Correct, which I love. So that's the transition into these things, right? Yeah. So Drake and Cardi are the transition into the unapologetic moment. And it's funny that you say that he wouldn't admit to it, because Hype is saying his song Hype, and I specifically chose a song, is because he's like, I don't believe in the hype. Like, as good as you say I am, I don't believe in it. That's not really what I'm about. What I'm about is working, getting my family to come up, getting my friends jobs, getting whatever. And he's putting it all in this like pop thing of like, I don't believe in the hype. Like, and he's putting it under like, obviously this is when he was in his like Jamaican phase, which is like, what accent does he have next? We don't know. I don't know. It makes him
Drake went through, so he's like Madonna.
Drake,
just like one day he became, because he's Canadian, right? He was, all I know from about Drake is this is going to be so stupid. No, I legitimately thought he was handicapped because he was on Degrassi. I never saw the show, but when someone was like, that's the guy from Degrassi, and it's a picture of him like in a wheelchair, I was like, whoa.
You're like a wheelchair rapper.
Oh, a paraplegic. My first thought was a paraplegic rapper. That's amazing. And then he was like dancing around. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, he was an actor. Oh shit. Okay.
Well,
I'm an idiot.
That's not just Drake. That's just entertainment.
100%. No, I'm not like mad at him for it.
You're
it's
like,
mostly just like, I'm an idiot. I want to admit on camera that I'm stupid. So there's no mistaking it.
Same. I'm stupid as well. I think that. Sorry, my mix just made me burp.
Yeah, let's see. What is it? The Jalisco? I forget what that shit's called. It's delicious.
Oh, it's this guy. Okay.
Aritos.
Had that in the fridge, and then had this. So no one's probably ever made this mix before, just like this playlist. So we're on brand. Drake. So Drake, there's a specific line in the song that I chose because it goes back to the start of the transition. of this whole playlist because they're supposed to be beginning, middle, and end, as I was
Yes.
told, right? So he says, my friends want to be friend, or my enemies, hold on. My enemies want to be friends with my other enemies, but I don't let it get to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because I think that through all the things that people are trying to do, there are always going to be questions. Why is this person doing this? Why was this person a paraplegic and now they're a rapper? Why are their beats so bad? And this sounds like an attack on you, but it's not.
I'll take it. No.
But
I'm deaf. Who are you?
exactly, right? And you're like, I don't know who you are, Drake. I'm just saying your beats is bad. Like, I just think it wraps up into like what I'm doing, people don't get, but I don't let it get to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that transition because it's something that I genuinely learned this year. I used to get very wrapped up into people that I trusted and people that I loved and them not understanding me.
Mm-hmm.
And music has always allowed me to tap back into those feelings, even as ignorant as I am.
No, but I wouldn't even say that. It's just like, it's what you grew up with.
Right.
You have a different ear for music than mine. It's not better or worse. It's just different. It affects you in a different way. That's
Right.
why I like doing the show, is because I get to learn more about music. And I love it.
Well, maybe we should do this show where it's like you and I tag team and we figure out how much I talk and how much more you talk. And then we have a guest on and then we.
What if we have a guest on and we just mute them? They just watch us bullshit for an hour.
We're like, I didn't see it like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap this up because I feel like you wanted to close this at least a half hour ago.
That's all good. We'll
You're like, it's all
just going to
good.
be
Totally.
the most random snips throughout.
So I'm gonna wrap this up. So Drake, I get it. He's commercial. He's constructed. He's whatever. I get it. And so is Cardi, who is my and they are constructed in the music world.
Mm-hmm.
However, the reason that I end on them is because I think the message is the same as Jay-Z. Cardi, Invasion of Privacy is an album that when we were creating the show, I mean, I literally had nothing. And I've had nothing multiple times. But when we were doing the live version of the show, like I remember, you know, my counterpart would being like, I'm going to do this, this, and this for my team. And I just like couldn't afford it. Like
Yeah.
I just couldn't afford it. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'll make it happen. And it hurt a lot of times to feel like I was up against this thing that somebody else wasn't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like I couldn't provide for what my team members needed. And also trying to provide for what my family needed. And like, it was really, really hard. So Invasion of Privacy meant a lot to me because Cardi B was the first person that I felt as a woman said, I come from undesirable circumstances.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect and I need help. But I still want to do this. And there's a lot of in her Invasion of Privacy that reflects the version of what this playlist is, which is growth, which is anger, which is resentment, which was hurt, which is feeling like you're not enough. And then I'm going to cry. I'm living my best life. It's like, I'm not going to fight y'all no more.
Right.
Like, I'm only going to fight me. I'm only going to fight my progress. And if you don't like me for it,
Yeah,
good.
it's pretty well, at a certain point you find, I think this is like an interesting thing about sort of growing up and growing older is once you learn that it's okay in the story of your life to start writing another chapter or the next chapter, it's really a beautiful thing because I think what's the way I sort of imagine life for people. I don't know if this connects with you at all, or if it means that I'm a psychopath. But like when I think about people, like an easy way for me to sort of like put together someone's life, right? Like the more you know someone, the more you know about them, the more you can envision. Like I literally like envision like a book, you know? It's just like a simple, like quick way to sort of like think about how you know a person. And for my own book, what's really interesting to me is like I have a lot of different chapters, and what's interesting is the idea of like which chapters in your life were the longest, because a lot of times that's like I didn't want to let that chapter end and start a new one, because I was really like invested in something about like what this was supposed to mean about my like the ultimate story that I'm writing. And I feel like that's kind of what we're talking about in a way.
Exactly. Please.
Because it's like
continue. That's exactly
once you realize, I feel like I'm on the fence of like think this is what's interesting about like humanity, right? It's like, fuck, did I learn this very late, or am I lucky to have it even have occurred to me at all? Because I feel like I was in my late 20s, early 30s when I was like, oh, I'm going to stop writing this chapter. Like, it's not working the way I thought it was going to.
Bless.
Now I'm like 3 or 4 chapters past where like my longest chapter was. But what I love is that I can flip back to it. And I can think like, oh, there were some things that motivated me, things that angered me, the way I used anger to fuel me, I can't use anymore. But there's a different way to like continue to motivate yourself that's progressive. And I think that's like, I feel like that's kind of the story of your playlist, if I may.
Yes.
Interject.
No, you're right,
and I think that's really wonderful.
There's so much, you're exactly right. There's so much push, and then there's acceptance. Like there's so much push, and it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm not fighting you anymore. Maybe I'm not fighting you anymore. Like I'm just, I want to do what's best for me. And that's what I'm going to focus on, because like you said, writing this chapter was too hard. Yeah. And for some reason it was given to me to write this chapter. But like, I'm going to make the choice as an adult that like, I've done enough work here.
Right.
We're here now.
Yeah. You know, what if the way to think about maybe these playlists is even like, maybe not these playlists, but just like music in general. Like if you think about like, if your story as your life as a story, it's interesting because you are the director of your own story. You're the sound
director.
You are a creative director. Does your necklace say he? Is that your nickname? That's so clever.
One of my initials. It's
Heidi, the first 2 letters of your name.
And it was actually, this is the thing that I gifted myself.
That's cute.
I didn't do much with anything from the Funny Dance Show money except for this thing, which feels like spiritual armor. And it was created by a woman that I've known for 10 plus years. And I was one of her original models for her jewelry line. When she ain't had no money, I ain't had no money. And now this bitch is in vogue, and I should not have, she lowered the price for me because I literally cannot afford her anymore.
Cool story.
This is.
Give her a plug. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Stella Simona and Ali Heiss. It is Hati Chai, and it is like, I was one of the original models for Hati Chai when we were like 21, and I was super cute. And she wanted a redheaded model. She's Indian, and she wanted a redheaded model. And I was submitting myself online, like trying to pretend a model, because I used to be a music video girl, you know, when I was 21 and lots of pounds lighter. But it was an honor to me. This is my first real piece of jewelry besides this ring that my grandmother gave me. And it's an honor to wear this piece every day.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I just want to say
that's the story behind the nameplate.
I had this like moment where it was like I wanted to say like, we're all proud of you, as
You and the
There's
guitar.
yeah, yeah. No,
No, but
these two, me and my two guitars.
yeah,
Think
but
the world of you, man. You made it.
I really do think that the reason I took this show so seriously, again, you're gonna have to cut so much of this out because it's like half of it
I
is on camera and
absolutely
half of
am
this is behind the
not
scenes.
going to, unfortunately.
The reason this is so important, especially because you said that you don't really listen to hip hop, and I was like, I don't really get like we have two different genre tastes, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the playlist, you're reaching this human conclusion, and like I understand you. So
Mhm.
it's almost like a language class,
Yes, I
right?
love it. Yeah, I mean that is what is like wonderful about music to me. You know, is like that, and that's why I love this show so much. Is because I I am a very like curious person by nature. I'm
Mhm.
like I love adventure. I love new things. I love just like the idea of. I was telling Lauren the other day. It was like when I was a kid, we moved around a lot, and there were times where we'd move into a house in the middle of a school year. I wouldn't have friends, but on the East
Same.
Coast and a couple places where we'd live, there'd just be like the woods. Like when I was a kid, I would just go get lost in the. I would just go fucking run around in the woods by myself. You know, there's like I've always had that sense of like, what the
What's
fuck
here?
else could I see and find and listen to and taste and touch and like I just want it to like experience as much as possible. So even though it's not my jam, to have someone else that's like passionate about something that's willing to share that, dude, I'm going to take it serious, and I'm really glad you put it together. I had a fun time listening to it. It's going to be played again
I
in
mean, I
my
talk
house.
way too much, so I'm gonna have to listen to again. This goes back to whatever our idea is like you clearly have. I I would have to shut the fuck up if it was about rock because I wouldn't know, but it would be like, oh, is that what they were saying? Like
It's
that went
have you seen
way over here.
it's like the there was like this craze like a month or so ago of like hip hop kids listening to like Rage Against the Machine and like other
Oh
music.
wait, I saw the one where they're like, oh my god, they didn't drop the beat until
Yeah.
like so
Yeah, yeah,
far
yeah.
in. Like I forget who.
It's such a pleasure to watch other people enjoying things that are new to them. And that's universal. That will always be awesome.
Well, and not only enjoying things that are new to them, but realizing that things that aren't. Let me think how to say this. Things that aren't like, we all have things that are like you would like this,
Right. Like
and
something that's not in your wheelhouse.
something that's not suggested to you,
Yeah, exactly.
and you're like, oh shit, I actually really like this. Like I was told I wouldn't like this, but I didn't realize that like this is what these people were saying.
Right.
And like we totally agree. Like I think that probably if I went through the opposite of what we did today, which is like you saying I don't know anything about hip hop and this playlist besides like one or two songs, if you did the opposite to me, which I'm open to by the way, and you gave me your playlist, I would have to shut the fuck up and listen to you.
You I still feel like you talk over me the whole time. I'm
Oh,
just kidding. But like
I
in a
really
good
got to
way.
work on myself.
No, definitely not.
Yes,
Heidi,
I do.
no, well we all do, but just just even acknowledging that that's a thing is like so important. I feel like that's like the only thing we might get out of 2020 is so many people had to sit in silence and go like, I don't like me. And then you Google like, I don't like me. And there's like, oh, here's things you can do to like yourself better. Maybe that's going to be a positive thing out of 2020.
Well, now I'm going to make you, whether it's recorded or not, I'm going to request, that you ask me to do the same thing that you asked me, which is like, give me your 30-minute playlist
Sure,
and
I'd
I'll
love to
shut
put
the
one
fuck
together.
up.
Yeah, we'll do. Oh shit, a spin-off series of mixtapes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
fuck yeah.
well, and then you can wait to cut this. Again, this is so weird because it's like we don't get no everything is like on camera and off camera, but like so you have way too much to cut down and you have to go because we started this at 7:30. But and this was like I think it's supposed to be a half hour and it's been an hour and a half.
They usually go about 60 minutes, but this was a fun one. Most people don't dive into their picks as heavy, and I never want to try to like force people to talk through it. So I would say about a good 50%. It's just more of a casual conversation, sort of the playlist is a jumping off point. But I really love the deep dive into like the thought process behind the playlist, why you chose something. So this has been a blast for me.
Oh, well, I did the deep dive because I know you're a music person, so I didn't want to disrespect you.
I loved it. I loved every second.
I was like, oh my God, he's gonna make me talk about music. And then I had like PTSD from my ex, like, oh my God, like
Well, I hope I didn't music snob you too much.
Please. I'm very aware that you could have music stopped me like multiple times, and that's why I'm saying like I talk too much. Like
No.
you could have checked me multiple times, so we have to do the
We'll flip it.
of this.
We'll yin and yang. We'll zig and zag. It'll be great. I'm gonna put together some like really obnoxious post-rock instrumental bullshit for you.
Please.
Yeah.
Give me all the like.
Yeah. It's gonna be so obscure and ambient. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you're gonna hate it.
like I want to know because like at the end of the day, again, I think music is a form of language, and at the end of the day, it's just whether you understand it or not. So it's like a what's it called? Translation.
Yeah.
Like it's like okay, yo, I get that you don't understand this language, like rock or whatever. However, what these people is saying is, and I'm like, oh, is that what they said? Oh, then like I'm into it too. Like
you're like, because like to me, it's like, we really have to end this, but like in that same respect, I'll be like, oh, he went, a diminished chord. That's cool. I was like,
yeah, no, I don't know what that
you know
means.
what I mean? Like, it's just I'm the worst.
Yeah, I don't know what diminished chord is. You have
So here's what we're gonna do.
Oh.
We're gonna hang up, but then let's plan something out. I'll send you something, and we'll do like a smaller compacted follow up.
Okay, let's do a smaller compacted follow up where you talk about the music and I talk about the lyrics because those are our two specialties, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Lyrics, music, two genres. I'm the lyrics bitch. You're the music dude. Two genres, hip hop, rock, right?
I love it.
Something like that.
Yeah, it'll flow.
Good night.
Bye, Heidi.